let's say you're up here on ISS and you need to go to the restroom. You want to come to this cabin, and the first thing you want to do is grab this piece of equipment and turn this rotary switch 90 degrees to the open position. What that does is it turns on a fan, which creates a suction effect in this hose, so that you can use this yellow element for your number 1. For number 2, the principle is actually exactly the same, suction. We have a solid waste container here, and on top of it is this seat. And the solid waste container is connected via this hose to the same fan, so that, again, the same suction effect allows you to do your number 2 in weightlessness. I want to show you how it looks, but since we don't want any bad smells to come out, we're going to actually turn on the fan. It's going to be a little bit loud. Here we go. Now you can lift the lid. There is this seat that sort of looks comfortable, but you don't really sit in weightlessness. So most of us actually prefer to lift this one as well and use directly the opening that goes into the bag. And in fact, there is a bag in there. It looks like this. And when we are done with our business, we close the bag and we push it down into the solid waste container. And then, of course, as a courtesy to the next person, we put a new fresh bag inside. The solid waste container gets changed when it's full, which is roughly every 10 days for a crew of 3 people using it. This one, for example, was installed on the 61st day of this year. So probably roughly around day 71, we will have to change it again. But urine gets recycled. So from the pretty complicated hydraulic equipment that is behind here.
After a long day of working on the space shuttle, how do astronauts sleep in space?
In order to make it comfortable for the astronauts, originally they were going to put us all in one habitation module with sleep stations all around it. But the way a station was eventually built, we have sleep stations inside Node 2, which is in the forward part of the station, and inside the service module, which is in the aft. A total of 6 small bedroom sleep stations or sleep pods. And inside each one is just a sleeping bag tied to the wall. You might think it's uncomfortable not having a mattress and a pillow, but without gravity, of course, you don't need anything to hold you up. You can just completely relax. And you don't even need a pillow. In space, you don't even have to hold your head up. So you can relax every muscle in your body, and your arms float up in front of you. Your head tips forward. But before I go to sleep, I gotta put on my pajamas, because I have space jammies. I'll be right back. Great. I'm in my super comfy Russian full-length pajamas. Nice for when you have to get up in the middle of the night, and ready to go to bed. I'll show you where I sleep. This is my sleep station, my sleep pod. This is where I spend up to 8 hours every day here on board the space station. It's actually on the floor, but once you're inside, you just can't tell.
What are you not allowed to do in space?
also aren't allowed to have bread, or anything that creates crumbs. An astronaut on the 1969 Gemini 3 mission smuggled a corned beef sandwich into space, but after one bite it crumbled apart and crumbs went everywhere. As crumbs float around a spacecraft, they can get into scientific equipment or important air vents. Plus, if you've ever gotten dust in your eye or accidentally inhaled a piece of food, you know how unpleasant that can be. So partially to avoid the crumb situation, astronaut food was mostly tubes of goo or bite-sized cubes of compressed dehydrated food. By the corned beef incident in 1969, the food was getting closer to normal, but it was still all coated in gelatin to prevent crumbs. Now that astronauts remain in space for months and food technology keeps getting better, the food in space is much more like regular Earth food, just tidier and without bread. For example, foods like sandwiches and pizza are possible, but they're served on tortillas instead of bread or crust. And it's a good thing that astronaut food isn't messy, because astronauts also aren't allowed to do laundry. They wear the same underwear for 3 or 4 days, and some astronauts will wear the same work outfit every day for months without washing it. There just isn't a way to wash clothes in space efficiently, and washing it by hand would be a waste of the limited water they have on the space station. Luckily, things don't get dirty as quickly on the space station. It's very clean and temperature controlled, and astronauts' sense of smell isn't as good in space, so BO isn't as much of a problem. But they do have to work out a lot to maintain their muscle and bone mass, so astronauts' clothes eventually get dirty, and when they do, they're packed up with the rest of the station's garbage and sent to burn up in the Earth's atmosphere. The solution seems a bit wasteful though, so in the future astronauts might feed their underwear to bacteria. The bacteria could digest the dirty undies and release useful methane gas that could help power the spacecraft. An underwear-powered spaceship.
Draw a poster of space. You can use planets, aliens, astronauts, space shuttles, and stars.